Yeah. Sound should be working. I can see
Now
it.
it works.
Now it works.
Oh, it stopped again. Muted again.
It was probably muted for a second while I switched views, and it should be back now. Is that right? It works. Okay, good.
Lovely.
Yeah, so what happened was we use OBS Studio to record these streams. It's like one of the most standard streaming softwares, but we don't have a dedicated streaming computer that's set up all the time. So I always bring my laptop in, and we hook up our professional camera and our microphones and our stream deck and all the things. And sometimes it gets confused as to which devices are connected. And so my OBS Studio was not picking up the sound capture device we use. And when I switched screens to try out some of the other views to make sure it was working in all of them, it went back to not working. So I had to go through each view and make sure it was turned on. So if we were working for a minute there and then stopped working, it's because I switched views. So we should be good now because I fixed the audio on all of the views.
We're going to repeat ourselves for the last little bit.
Yeah.
That's fine. Thank you for the patience. Yeah.
Matt.
Yes.
You also do not have screen sharing configured correctly yet.
No, I do not.
I don't know if you're going to want that, but you have not set your windows to
yes.
duplicate your displays.
I can do that.
So I'm going to get you to do that while I read us in. Welcome back to the 2H Media AMA with Shopify. We are Shopify partners. We're here to answer your burning questions. Today's topic is around budgeting. We get a lot of questions around marketing budgets. There's a few common misconceptions we'd love to talk about. But generally speaking, the way we handle these AMAs is we pull your answers from the Shopify forum. You probably are already aware of the 2H Media AMA questions board. There's a ton of questions posted there already. If you have a question for us, the best thing to do is start by reading the other questions on the forum. Because when we have run these streams in the past, historically, we've gotten a ton of duplicate questions, and it makes it really challenging for us to manage all of them and make sure all of the most important questions get answers. The first time we did one of these, it took like a week and a half to answer all the questions, and it was fun. But we can't do that again. We actually just don't have time to do that and go out and build Shopify stores. So what we're trying to do, our goal is to answer like the top 20 questions or so. And the way we determine the top questions is the number of likes. So if there's something you really want answered, the best way to get it answered is to go look through the questions that have already been posted. See if someone has a question similar to yours and give that a like. Because we will be refreshing the page every now and then to see which questions have the most likes, trying to find the ones that have the most and answering those. There haven't been too many likes come in prior to the start of the stream. Looking at the page, I only see 3 likes so far. So to start out, we're going to answer the 3 questions that have likes, and then we're kind of just going to be picking and choosing not necessarily the most important questions, because we don't know what you want to see answered unless you indicate it to us. So please take a few minutes, pop around the forum board, and just hit some likes on the questions that you want answers to, and that really helps us do a better job at this.
We will start in on a couple of these. There's a great one here from Digital Neo. So we'll start with that. Guidance on scaling to 100 orders a day marketing budget strategy. So, dear Matt and Aaron, hope you're doing well. I'm excited to attend your building a marketing budget session and wanted to get your expert insights on a challenge I'm currently facing. Cool. I run a Shopify-based activewear brand, and I aim to scale to 100 orders a day. I guess I can do that. Can you, I should be sharing the right screen.
Sure.
Yeah. I run a Shopify-based activewear brand, and I aim to scale to 100 orders per day. I'd love your advice on: number 1, what percentage of revenue should I allocate to my marketing budget to achieve this target? How should I effectively split my budget between Facebook ads, Google ads, email marketing, WhatsApp marketing to achieve maximum conversions? What are the best strategies to scale paid ads profitably while keeping acquisitions costs low? And please tell me which campaign should I run on Meta and which campaign should I run on Google for more orders? Please tell me campaign structure. Also looking forward to your valuable insights. Good question. It's a very good question. I'm just going to take that out of here. We'll go back here. Right on. Okay. It was a pretty detailed question, actually. So first things first, scaling to 100 orders a day, great goal. Mm-hmm. Having a goal in mind. what percentage of revenue should I allocate to my marketing budget to achieve this goal? Okay, so depending on your level of risk and depending on what current data that you've got available to you, you can go more aggressive. You didn't say how fast you wanted to get to 100 orders a day, but that's fine. Typically, a normal marketing budget is 13% of revenue. 13%. So if you want to have $100,000 in revenue, you're spending $13,000 in marketing to achieve that $100,000 in revenue. Some industries can play with that number quite a bit because their margins are better, or the competition is less, or you've got wholesale channels where the orders are very, very large. 13 is average.
So 13 is like a recommendation.
Recommendation is a recommendation.
Like in terms of average, we see like 7%.
Yeah, we see a
more
lot of
commonly,
low.
and it's not enough.
Yeah.
But that is probably the most typical number we see is about 7% of revenue, but it should be 13.
If you want to be more aggressive and get to those 100 orders per day faster, that number just goes up.
Yeah.
Now, when you're spending more money, you should be paying more attention to where that money is going because those dollars need to remain profitable. We're not just throwing money into the breeze for the sake of getting that number higher.
Yep.
So the campaigns still need to be profitable. So So that's the percentage. Question 2, how should I effectively split my budget between Facebook ads, Google ads, email marketing, and WhatsApp marketing? Okay.
So this is a great question. It really depends on the size of your company because, let's say your revenue is $100,000 a year and you have $13,000 to spend on marketing. Congratulations, you have enough budget for Google ads. You get to do one of those things. Yeah. And which one of those things you should focus on really depends on what you're trying to sell. So like if you're selling a product that people are actively searching for, it's well known, it's, like if you sell a better screwdriver and people are like going online looking to buy a screwdriver, well, Google ads might be a good fit for you because people are already going into search looking for that product. But if you sell something like super innovative, brand new, no one's ever heard of it before, no one's actively looking for that product, then the better bet is going to be social media ads.
Yeah.
You're going to want to like get eyes from new people on your product. So like you can either advertise to people where they're searching or where they're hanging out.
Yeah.
And people who are actively searching are going to be easier to convert, but they have to know about your product in the first place, or at least know about your category of products. Whereas people who are just hanging out are going to be a more appropriate audience. If no one's looking for your thing, you kind of have to make them aware of it. So it's going to be easier to do that if you just advertise on like socials where people are just hanging out doing their own thing. Those people are going to be slower to convert. It's going to be a harder sell. But if your product is really novel, that's just what you have to do to start getting the word out.
There's some tools that you can use to determine that. So you can create a Google Ads account. You don't have to create a campaign. You don't have to spend any money, but you need an account. At which point you can use their keyword planner tool and you can start typing in some of your anticipated keywords that people will be searching for. And it'll give you back some recommendations on here's how popular those search terms are. They're 25,000 monthly searches or 100 monthly searches. So if the volumes are very low, you can't invent demand. You can't make people search things. It would be more useful to go into a discovery channel like Facebook or Instagram or TikTok where people are browsing and now you can inject content into where they're just hanging out. If the demand's really high, like people searching for screwdrivers because people know what screwdrivers are, I would say, well, you're going to need really, really captivating content to do that effectively on social media. Like I can't imagine the ad that I would have to build for you to stop my scrolling when I'm watching a sandwich being made and then there's a cat video and there's a funny comedian and now you've got a screwdriver ad that's going to have a hook.
It would have to be a really fancy screwdriver.
It's like, holy smoke. So that's going to be a really big challenge.
Like, oh, that screwdriver's got like a flashlight bit. Right? Like if it does something people wouldn't expect out of a screwdriver, now it might perform on social. So
there's a big challenge there because you need to go now and spend money building that creative. Where in Google, like text-based ads, I'm just going to say, hey, this screwdriver's, titanium screwdriver, made in Canada, made wherever,
Yeah.
whatever, and that's it. So like big challenge. There was a question in chat that I wanted to answer really, really quickly that should build on that, which is, if your revenue is 0, how do you determine your budget? Okay, great question. I'm going to add that here. We use leading and lagging indicators. Leading and lagging indicators. So we have to have the before and the after. The after is, I want my revenue to be $100,000 or 100 orders. Great. That's my goal as a company. What do I need to? So that's the lagging indicator. That happens after you've done the work. The leading indicator is, what do I need to do in order to create the 100 orders? That means I need to, so what do I have to do for one order? Do I need to do one social media post? Do I need to drive 300 website visitors in order to convert one person? I need to get some metrics down, or some very good guesses down. If you don't have anything, we're going to have to use educated guesses. And it's, okay, every time I have 100 visitors on my site, I get one order. So what conversion rate's 1%. How much time does it cost to attract 100 people? How much money does it cost to attract 100 people? How many social posts do I need to do? How many trade shows do I need to go? Like, all my activities happen before the revenue gets recorded.
It's about your projected revenue. If you're trying to raise $100,000, you probably need to spend at least $13,000 on marketing. Before that happens, even like your revenue is 0, as an initial investment, you're gonna have to spend a bunch of money on marketing to try to get those early sales. If you don't have any money to invest, which we see a lot on here, you're gonna need to invest a massive amount of time. You know, if you need $13,000 worth of marketing, you might need to invest 30,000 hours worth of time.
And this is nothing against Shopify. Shopify gives you the tool, the conversion mechanism. Shopify doesn't provide you the traffic.
I want to break down that like estimate I just pushed out there a little bit more, because that number might like be shocking to people.
Right,
because like, if you imagine a $13,000 marketing budget.
$1,000 a month-ish.
Yeah. And if you convert that to hours, you know, if you only pay yourself $1 an hour,
that's a lot of hours.
Yeah.
13,000 hours.
Yeah. So I may have done my math backwards on that, actually. You probably only need to put in like 7,000 hours, you know, because if you pay yourself like,
well, that's $2 an hour.
Yeah.
Well, even at 50, cut it in half.
Sure.
Cut it in half. So you're at a lot of hours going into something, and you need to make sure those hours are actually spent effectively.
That's the point I'm trying to get to, right? Is like, the conversion of your dollars to hours is going to be really inefficient.
Yes. Because
you're not like an e-commerce guru who's been doing this for 20 years successfully. Because if you were, you wouldn't be here asking us how to do it.
You don't have any. So like, when we look at bigger brands and how they're able to maintain their success. So like, I use the Kardashians for this, because it's like, great. They've got 100,000 followers on Instagram. When they put out their new product, they don't need to go to Google to get their audience. They've got an audience that they control and own through Instagram. So when they put out their whatever product they've got, and nothing against any of it, it's just they've got a big audience. When they put out their product and they post, they get 1 million eyeballs on it. And 1 million eyeballs has a lot of value.
Yeah.
And you won't have 1 million eyeballs as a small business owner that's just starting. So you need to fight for every set of eyeballs. So like, that's part of the challenge. So yeah, leading and lagging. I have to have a goal in mind. I have to put the energy out. There's no free lunch out there. The opposite of this, which is, and I'm going to keep this to Shopify. Amazon provides you the traffic.
Yeah.
If you want to go into Amazon's ecosystem, people are searching on Amazon, but they take a huge chunk of the revenue that you'll generate to provide you that traffic. So it's. I would rather you own your own marketing. I would rather you own your own brand. I'd rather you have a Shopify store that you can control that ecosystem. Because maintaining control is probably somewhat related to why you wanted to be an entrepreneur in the first place.
Sure.
But just note that there is a challenge for building something for yourself. You either need time. You need time and money.
I want to go back to the time again, because I redid the math, because I was doing my math backwards originally, which is why I was running into issues. You're gonna need, if you want to do like $13,000 worth of marketing, you're gonna need like 650 hours worth of work.
There you go.
right? So if you imagine paying yourself like $20 an hour, take your $13,000 budget and then just divide that by 20, it gives you 650 hours. If you work a 40-hour week, just marketing your e-commerce store, doing nothing else,
It's a lot of weeks.
that's like 16 weeks. So
16 weeks.
you could conceivably build an e-commerce store from nothing to $100,000 in revenue, but you are doing full-time advertising that entire time, and that's assuming that time is spent effectively.
Yep.
And this is something that I think a lot of people are shocked by when they get into e-commerce is the time investment,
It's a huge time.
right? Because to work full-time for 16 weeks, that's not a side hustle. That's 40 hours a week. You're not working a full-time job in addition to that. That's all of your time. And again, that's assuming the time is spent effectively.
That's you starting a business.
Yeah.
Is that, and there's no getting around that. It's either you're going to take a loan out, you're going to borrow some money from wherever.
Yep.
Maybe you get some quick wins, but like you definitely, and that 16 weeks is over the full year. So like that's a week and a half solid per month, every month. There's no getting around it. That's what we do. And it has to be spent in the right place. So how would I effectively split my budget? Facebook, Google. One, the first thing you need to do is where is your audience?
Yeah.
So that activewear brand, cool. It's probably going to be a mix between like Facebook, Instagram, and Google. Email marketing, if you don't have an email list, that's off the table. So if you don't have if you don't have a bunch of people that are subscribed to your email marketing, there's no email marketing to do. I would spend no dollars. If you've got 10 emails in MailChimp or Klaviyo or whatever platform you're using in Shopify, I'm not spending 10 hours to market to 10 people. I want to spend 10 hours to market to 10,000 people. So like zero. WhatsApp's a little bit different. Like you're going to, depending on the activewear brand and then your audience, maybe you're targeting teens, maybe you're targeting young adults, maybe you're targeting seniors, depending where you're at. That could be an okay channel. But I would be looking at one channel. They're all their own thing. So one channel, get that channel to profitability, recycle the profits, start the next channel over and over and over. I wouldn't be going nationwide with a campaign. I would be starting in, okay, let's say you're in Texas, like pick a country or pick a state, pick the biggest city in the state. There is enough customers in that one place to support your entire business forever. So if you're in Texas, if there's 10 million people in the state, you've got 500,000 potential customers. If you can't sell locally, you're gonna have a really hard time selling across the country. So like nationwide campaigns are just really hard to manage. They're hard to figure out what's working. Like target down to. So the best strategy is to scale ads profitably. Keep your targeting really tight. Keep the collateral really good. So like if there's an activewear brand, I would have a person running or doing yoga or doing something just out and about in the city that you are advertising in. So if you're in Colorado looks a lot different than Florida. And Florida looks a lot different than Washington, and Washington looks a lot different than New York. So like where you are, the content needs to be very, very consistent with the people you're targeting, needs to identify with them. Small to start, grow city by city. So that's how I would scale profitably while keeping the acquisition costs low. So good targeting. I would have
high relevancy as well.
Yes.
And
that's the point of having the little monument in the background or
in terms of like your web pages.
Oh yes.
Right? Like if you're ad directing traffic to a landing page that's really well built out for the ad you're running, that's going to save you a ton of ad dollars. And that's going to make the scaling way more effective. Do we want to finish answering point number 4? We kind of touched on it already, and then we can circle back to the other questions in chat.
So back to this, just keep everyone.
Because they also asked, what campaign should they run? And that's an impossible question for us to answer.
Yeah.
From a forum post with this level of detail.
Yeah.
Like broadly speaking, the campaigns you need to run are going to depend on your audience.
Okay.
And depend on your product and number of product lines and like number of pages you're trying to advertise. There's a whole bunch of factors that go into determining what campaigns you need to run.
I can kind of give you a breakdown of like what I'll paint a picture and I'll give you the scenario, and I'll try to fill in some gaps for you. On Meta, so that's going to combination of Facebook and Instagram, you're going to need to run some form of video campaign.
Yeah.
Everybody else is watching video, like I just said, they're scrolling and there's a sandwich, comedian, cat, dog. Great. You're going to need to fit in with the medium, so it's going to need to be video. You're going to need to have a hook within the first 6 seconds to get stopping power. So you're going to have to figure that out based on the product. I need someone to stop and watch. Cool. Great. That video is probably going to be 30 seconds or less. The click will then go through into your Shopify store to a product page that's going to be built out. There should be probably another video on that page. Once you've collected enough data around that campaign, Facebook's got some cool tools. One of them is a lookalike audience where you can scale down the percentage of people and how targeted that is. You're probably looking at like 1 to 3% lookalike on that scale. And all that means is it's going to go out into the ecosystem, find other people that match that same profile that had a positive result the first time, and it's going to go find those people. It's like the marketing cheat code in Facebook is using a lookalike audience. Cool. You're going to want to, after that, you're going to want to run a retargeting campaign. So just because this person has clicked an ad once doesn't mean they're immediately going to convert. They're probably going to think about it. They're probably scrolling at 11 o'clock at night and they're like not ready to buy right now, or they're at work on lunch and they're not in the frame of buying. We're going to have to go back to them a few times. One touch point is definitely not enough. So powerful video ad, good landing page on your site with like more video to support like the key selling features, lookalike audience, into a retargeting campaign. And then at that point, if they're still not converting at that point, I'd be looking at, what was the scroll depth on the page? How much did they see? How much didn't they see? Was the creative good? Things like that. But that's like a typical cycle. So through Meta, there's a lot of work there. There's a lot of creative that needs to be built. There's a lot of like massaging to get that to go. Google's a little bit different. If they're already looking for like athletic pants, I know they're in market. They're not watching cat videos. They just typed in athletic pants. And now I need to compete at that level. So the acquisition cost is a little bit, the cost per click is a little bit higher, but like the in-market attitude of the person is way, way, way more targeted there. So that would be like, that's like a common breakdown.
I also want to circle back on like which channel you should focus on. To start out, probably just paid ads.
Like, Google paid.
When your budgets are small, you're going to get the most value for your dollar pumping that money directly into advertising.
Yes.
Right? So like if you go in and you invest in email marketing, you're taking that money and you're pouring it into infrastructure, which is fantastic long term. But it's really good for nurturing an existing audience and like bringing back your existing customer base. If you don't have that customer base and you need sales right away, you need raw traffic. And the fastest way to get raw traffic is to just push money into advertising platforms because they will feed traffic to your site faster than anything. You may still be better off working with a third-party agency like ours to actually manage those advertising accounts. Because like, just financially speaking, like we charge 20% of ad spend to run an advertising campaign for you. Well, if you're going to pay Google $20,000
over the course of a year
to drive traffic to your site, and you set up those campaigns ineffectively, and you're paying a really high cost per click because your campaigns aren't optimized, you're probably wasting a ton of that money. Whereas if you bring an agency in to manage those ads for you, and you're paying us $4,000 a year, and you're paying Google 16 because we're taking 20% of your overall advertising budget, that 16 is probably going to go way further than the full 20 would have if your campaigns weren't optimized.
I'd bet that we're
like we've always seen it. But so like now like hypothetically, what you could do is you could go out and you could spend some portion of your budget and take some Udemy courses and learn a little bit about advertising and try to do a really good job yourself.
Yep.
That depends on how much time you have. Like if you're time rich and money rich, congratulations. No like you've got lots of options. If you only have time, you're going to need a lot of time. And if you only have money, it's more efficient to lean on experts than to try and do everything yourself. But 100%. In any case, like if you've got a limited budget and you're trying to go like, where do I put this money from an advertising perspective? Advertising. Every time is going to do more faster than any other marketing channel we can talk about.
Good question. Does that mean if you're spending more than 13% you're doing No.
No. There are lots of reasons you could be spending more than 13% of your revenue. There are cases, if you're spending that money inefficiently,
there's
a problem. Yeah. But there's lots and lots of reasons why you can do that intentionally. You know what? Maybe your growth goals are really aggressive. Yeah. You know, maybe you're doing $100,000 in revenue now, and so you go, well, I could pay 13,000 a year to maintain that. Maybe your goal is $1 million a year in revenue. If your goal is $1 million a year in revenue, well, guess what? You're going to need to spend more than that $100,000 in revenue you've got now to bring that in. So you're going to be blowing your entire budget on marketing. If you want to get there quickly.
There's lots of great examples of higher budget. So if you were to bring in like a novel product from another country and you want to gobble up a bunch of market share before your competitors bring the same type of product, like you need to spend heavy. I need market share that'll pay off in the end. If you need to make your customers aware of something that they don't already have, you're gonna need to spend more money to educate them. Some assets cost a lot to build.
Yeah.
So like you might end up making a bunch of videos, but that might bleed over between 2 years of marketing budget because a 1 year ROI on some assets isn't realistic. There's lots and lots of examples of
a lot of costs are front loaded.
Yep.
It's really common for us to see companies that are trying to be very aggressive and they need like website overhaul, email marketing,
all new imagery, video, like the whole thing.
They're going to spend like 3 years worth of marketing budget to get all of those things up front, and then still have to find budget for advertising if they want to push in traffic. And it's really tough to get away from those things because like in terms of driving raw traffic, like we said, ads are the most effective thing, but then some of your costs are just super important. You need super high quality imagery.
Yeah.
Super high quality videos makes a big difference as well. I saw, a buddy of mine has been asking me for like website advice. And if this happens when you're in the industry, friends will like want your input on things. And he keeps sending me these links to like Instagram reels of Shopify theme developers saying like, oh, we're going to send you these like we'll build you a really high-end Shopify theme that has like animations and stuff and is really cool. And I look at them and I go, yeah, but what you're going to get back is a theme that you're really unsatisfied with because it might have some cool animations, but the examples they're using to sell you these custom themes are all built on really high-end assets in terms of photography, video, and 3D models. And if you don't have any of those like building blocks that you need to build a really media-rich site, you'll never be able to build a website that looks like that. No matter how much you pay a theme developer. And so, how much should you spend on your marketing budget? When we say that 13% number, that's like a good ballpark for a company that is up and running and trying to like keep things going over and over and over again. But like, we're really just talking about raw marketing. If you need like assets created
photography, depending on how many products, how many key products, like that could be crazy.
Yeah.
The how complicated your product and how much explaining you have to do to get someone to understand it. That could like there's it really does depend. But like we always get asked this ballpark number, how much should I be spending? It's relative.
Yeah.
It really is. It's like there are some businesses that operate on like a 1% margin. They gobble up everything in order to sell it because they know the long-term strategy is I can ride this wave, I can break even year over year, and at year 10 now I'm going to be acquired by a bigger business. I'm going to annihilate my competition in market share. There's lots of strategy that go into what should I actually do in terms of spending that money. So it's a good question. Mm-hmm. Thank you for asking, Zooms. Thank you for asking that question in the stream chat. I'm going to add that to the document as well. That was really good, I think. And now you can see, after answering the first question, you can see why doing 180 of these is... We try to give very, very deep answers because we're trying to... If you were to ask this question to us face-to-face, we're trying to provide you the same level of answer that you would get if you were just interacting with us. So
yeah.
That's what we're trying to do here. So
we'll get into the next question in a minute. A few more people have joined us now.
Lovely.
And before we dive into the next question, I'll re-explain how we're doing this. So as Matt was saying, it's a lot of questions for us to answer if we were to answer all of them. So we try to only answer the top questions that are most impactful to the most number of people. And the way we determine that is by how many likes those questions have received. So if you're just joining us, before you go and post a question, or even if you've posted a question already, take a look through the AMA board and look for other people with similar questions and give those questions some likes, because we'll be periodically refreshing this page to see how many questions, see which questions have the most amount of likes, and those are the questions we're going to be focusing on answering. So if you want to get the information you're here for, please go and look for questions that are really similar to yours. Give them a like, because those collections of likes are how we're going to make sure that your questions get answered.
Next question.
Yeah.
Next question.
Kick us off.
Next question. Great. Just based on likes, clicks, but no conversion. So we're going to try to tie this back to budgeting. Hi, everyone. I've been running Facebook ads for my Shopify store, but I've spent quite a bit without seeing any sales. Here's a quick rundown of what I've done so far. I've created 3 to 4 different campaigns with a decent daily budget. I've focused on catalog ads because I have a lot of products, so promoting single products isn't practical. We're going to come back to that. Tested multiple ad sets with different audiences, broad, gender-specific, interest-based, cool. Meta optimized the budget, but it's heavily favored poor performance ads like carousels. What I'm dealing with, no product videos. So I'm mainly using product images and collection ads. No sales despite spending the $760. I'm not sure if my campaign structure is wrong or if I should focus more on retargeting, lookalike audiences, or optimizing the catalog ads themselves. Could anyone share their experience on 3 things? So how to structure a catalog ad properly, how to find the right audiences that convert, and what kind of creatives work best when you don't have videos. Any advice? Okay.
Right away, I think this question is missing the forest for the trees.
Yes, you're missing. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Because we're like right in the weeds here, talking about specifics of how to advertise on Facebook and like build different campaign structures, and we're into the nitty gritty of what's going to perform best. And I see some major issues with the premise.
Big ones.
One of the big issues is budget. Right away, no sales despite spending over $760. $760 is a very small budget for advertising.
Yes.
We wouldn't even consider that a high enough budget for 1 month of advertising if you want to see any actual results.
Yep.
It's actually just not enough money for this avenue. So if the budget is that limited, then the time probably has to go into other areas, and it's going to take a lot of time to build up the company. And then knowing that the budget is small, and Matt's highlighting the other point that's a big problem.
This is the like, if we're going to structure, this is problem 1, this is problem 1.1.
Yeah, they go hand in hand.
They are hand in hand.
Because $760 a month, we're saying, and they're saying $760 total, but we're saying $760 a month is not enough to advertise one product.
Yeah.
And they're saying they're advertising a whole catalog of products because they have too many products, and advertising a single one isn't practical.
Yep.
Some of the top Shopify stores in the world have 10 products or less.
Yep.
And one of the biggest missteps we see e-commerce newcomers make all the time is feeling the need to launch with a wide variety of products. And you end up in this position where your products don't stand out. You're advertising collection pages on the homepage instead of individual product pages. And you don't have the resources to promote that many products that quickly. So from a budgeting perspective, we said earlier, focus on one channel. Also focus on one product.
Yeah, I'd be focusing on, so like, let's go right back to basics. What value does your business provide your customer?
Yeah.
And you can't say volume as a small business. I provide provide the largest quantity. We can't be Home Depot. We can't be Walmart. We can't be like, nope, that is not a small business friendly avenue. We cannot do that. We do not have the resources to be all things to all people. We have to say, great, we have 5 hero products, and these are like what we're known for, and I'm going to pour all my effort into the top 5 products that I need my brand to be known for, and that's it. So when you say, on top of the fact, focus on catalog ads because I have a lot of products, so promoting single product, nobody is looking for a lot of products.
Yeah.
They're going, I have a problem, or I'm looking for a supplement, or I'm looking for something for my hair, or clothing, or food. No one's looking for like, show me I want to buy all the food. No, they're going to go, I want like a sandwich.
Yeah.
No one's looking for everything. No one's even looking for like 3 things. They normally start looking for one thing, and then they discover something else.
Yeah.
And like, there are some of the biggest brands.
Well, even in terms of some of like the advertising like categories we recommended, where like if people are looking for your product, advertise on Google.
Yep.
If your product is new and novel, advertise on
Instagram, TikTok,
social media.
Yep.
Well, if people are looking for a product, like you just explained, they're not looking for 50 different things. They're looking for one product.
Yep.
So you can't advertise 50 different things on Google.
Yep.
Well, if your product is new and novel and you're trying to capture an audience on social media, they're not going to be excited by a whole list of products that they know nothing about.
No.
So if you're trying to capture that attraction, like if you're trying to attract an audience who's interested in something new and novel, you can only show them one new and novel thing at a time.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like and think about this: what brands advertise lots of products, big ones? So like Temu is a marketplace. Mm-hmm. They advertise everything. They try and say we've got everything. Come shop here. Canadian Tire. I get a Canadian Tire flyer every week. They have 5,000 product listings in that flyer. Huge brand. If I'm looking at a small business, they better have a niche. They better be good in their niche. They better stand out. They better clearly explain their value. The brand better be associated with what they're doing. The thinner we go, the least effective. So like if you came to us in like a private session, I would say, what is your goal?
Yeah.
What is your goal? And if you said, well, I want to sell, I have a revenue goal, great. And you'd say, I keep using the $100,000. I want 100 orders a day or $100,000. I'm going to say, great, good goal. We'll put a time frame on that. What can we sell in order to get to that goal? Tell me about your products. And you say, well, I have 50,000 things or 2,000 things or 200 things. 200 things is too many things for a small business. I need like 5 things.
Yeah.
Five products. I need so like in order to get that, I need 5 products with great images. I need 5 products with great landing pages. I need if you had put 760, and I mean I don't know this for sure, but I'm pretty confident if you had put $760 worth of advertising to one product, just to one product, there's a very, 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 very a high likelihood that you would have generated sales and awareness. It's still not enough.
And if your budget's that small, there are better uses of it.
Yes.
That's like 4 trade show passes.
Yeah, I would have gone to,
Right? Like 5 trade show passes. I'm not talking about a booth. Booths are crazy expensive, but to just
walk the show, go meet a bunch of connections.
Yeah. There's going to be local advertising strategies. If your budget is that small, there are going to be advertising strategies that leverage your time more than your money that are going to be more effective. If you're trying to get sales fast, ads. But it requires a ton of budget. If you're trying to get sales fast and you have no budget, you need a ton of time because you need to go hit pavement and like physically do in-person sales, which sucks, but that's kind of the 2 options.
Yeah.
We have some really great questions in chat that are tied into this.
Good. Let's go for it.
Do you advertise a homepage or a product on Google Ads, Facebook, etc.? Always a product page.
Yeah, product page.
We would. So there is one exception. If you have a ton of budget and you're established, it does make sense to have a campaign for your general search term. If you've got competitors advertising on your brand name, you want to compete with those competitors so that they don't get those ads effectively for free. Matt could explain this better than I can. Yeah. But in those cases, because you're really just paying for that campaign to be involved in that space and not to drive a ton of traffic to your actual product pages, those can go to the homepage. But every time you're trying to actually convert a sale, it's going to be way more effective to advertise one product and advertise the product page.
It's kind of funny. You'll have seen this. So you type in Google, you'll see ad stacking, or sorry, not ad stacking. You'll see like profile stacking, where you'll see like Home Depot's got an ad, and then in search position 1, Home Depot is also there. That is because they've recognized that one of their competitors is advertising the same term. They're advertising on Home Depot's term, so it'll be like Lowe's or Rona on top of Home Depot. And Home Depot, controlling the domain and having all the authority that it has, can buy the top position very, very cheaply and drive the advertising cost to a point where it doesn't make sense for Lowe's or one of the competitors to advertise against their term. So it's like, I'm going to kick you out of the market by making it too costly for you to compete where it's really cheap for me.
Yeah.
You'll see that all the time. That's why they do that. That's
Lawyers like to do the same thing. Lawyers are really competitive. They love to advertise each other's names.
Yes.
It's
so like that's the only time, and that goes to the homepage.
Yeah.
Every other time, It needs to go, and again, it needs to go as far into the buying cycle as possible, because especially through Google, if they have typed in wheelbarrows, I don't want to show the homepage. I want to get them to the wheelbarrows. Now, if I am Home Depot and I've got 40 different wheelbarrows, I might send them the collection page. There's heavy duty ones, and there's pretty ones, and there's decorative ones, there's inside, outside, great. If they said heavy duty wheelbarrow, I'm sending them right to our heavy duty wheelbarrow page.
Yeah.
They just told you what they want. I skip as many clicks as possible, get them right to the heavy duty wheelbarrow. It comes in 2 colors and whatever. I got to get them right to there. They know what they're asking you. If they were to come to your store and they were to say, show me your wheelbarrows, you wouldn't walk them to any other section of the store. You would walk them to the home and garden, and then you'd walk them to the aisle with all of the tools, and then you'd walk them directly to the wheelbarrows, and you wouldn't leave them until they were at the wheelbarrow. So we can do the exact same process. Get them right to the thing they're looking for. In as few steps as possible.
Yep.
That's it. So
it's also going to make your ads more effective.
Yeah.
Right? Because, like, you got to think about what goes in your ad. Is it an image ad? Is it a video ad? Is it a text ad? No matter which one it is, it has content.
Yep.
And that content is selling something. Well, it's easier to build an effective ad if you're pushing traffic to a page that sells something specific, because then that can inform the content that goes into your ad. If we're trying to sell a heavy-duty wheelbarrow and we're using image ads, we need an image of a heavy-duty wheelbarrow.
yeah.
If you're sending traffic to your homepage and you sell 40 different types of products, what do we use as the image for that ad?
How do I communicate that? It would be a very difficult thing to do.
So product page is always more effective than the homepage. And this kind of ties into the next question too. So with many Shopify startups, no one knows this yet. Maybe I missed it being said, but would you agree in part we should advertise our business over a product to begin with? I would say absolutely not. You should not be advertising your business at all until it has a reputation.
Yeah.
Like, the last thing you want to do is focus all your effort on building a brand that doesn't stand for anything and no one's excited about. People don't get excited about businesses typically. People get excited about products. If your product is new and novel and interesting, those are the things that you need to highlight. You need to show off what makes your product great. You need to get that product in front of people. It's much easier. If I were to start an e-commerce brand, I would build one product.
Yeah.
I would promote the absolute crap out of that one product. I would push it to every social media site. I would advertise it aggressively. I would build a following around that product. I would sell that product. And when that product is doing really well and I'm making great money on it, then I might introduce a second product that is related to my first product. And then over time, if I keep doing that, eventually people will be excited for my business. But it's going to take a series of getting people excited for individual products before they even remember what my brand is in order to be invested in it. There's a great example of this. I mean, one we talk about all the time is Yeti.
Oh yeah, Yeti's a good one.
Right? We've got a Yeti.
We have a lot of
on the
Yetis
desk.
in here.
We love their products. They're awesome.
They started with this cup right here. They start with coolers.
Yeah.
They start with coolers even before cups. Coolers.
Yeah.
Super expensive coolers for primarily guys on fishing boats. That was it. It was like heavy, rugged, insulated, like very gender specific, keeps ice for like, I don't know any woman that cares how long ice is in a cooler. I know like every dude I know is like, it keeps ice for like forever.
I don't know why you're like delving that far into the
Well,
gender
it's just
specific
like the
angle,
Yeti.
'cause that's not the important
They
part.
killed it on one product.
Yes.
They built a reputation around quality in their one product, and then they went to what other things can we do with, and then that's how they built it. If they had started with drinkware, no one would care.
Well, maybe that's not the point we're making.
It's like they had to start with something.
Yeah.
And they built the reputation on being good. They move that good into a next thing, into the next thing, into the next thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? They started with one product.
Yeah.
They didn't start by advertising Yeti.
No.
And like letting people know we are a company that exists and we have company values.
Yeah.
And we're going to send you to our homepage. No. they started advertising coolers, and then they moved on.
They moved on to all kinds of things: shirts, T-shirts, pants.
Yeah.
All kinds of things. All kinds of things related to the outdoor active lifestyle. So
We've got a comment. This seems like a crucial point here. Yeah, this is like if you have one takeaway.
We preach it. We scream this all the time.
Choosing one thing to focus on, and like pushing that aggressively, is going to be so much more effective than trying to do a bunch of things. Your budget is going to go further. Your time is going to go further. Your messaging is going to make more sense to your audience.
You're like, again, there's enough customers where you live with one product to sustain you forever.
Yeah.
So volume is very rarely, very rare. Or sorry, variety is very rarely the answer. For
I'm going to use this as an opportunity to self-promote a little, and also explain something we're doing that's going to tie in.
Yeah.
So we practice what we preach. One of our brands is called Sprint Point. And we release a ton of resources for businesses to use to help like understand their business better and understand their brands better and figure out what their audience looks like. And they're mostly printed resources. And historically, everything we've produced has just been free digital downloads. We use them internally to help people with their marketing. We went, these are useful. We're going to spread these to as many people as possible. Well, we've taken that initiative and we are launching our very first physical paid product through that company.
One product.
And this is why I bring it up now.
Product.
And great. It's one product. That means a few things. That means all of our advertising is going into this one product. We're not advertising the homepage. We're not advertising any of our free resource pages. We're not posting about other things. We are posting about the one product that we want to sell. All of our efforts are going into drawing attention to that one product right now.
You're getting a sneak peek. You're the first people to see this, which is cool.
Well, not necessarily, because this did go live last night. So,
fair enough.
Conceivably, some other people could have clicked on these links for now. We are taking that one product far enough that when you navigate to sprintpoint.ca, which is the site that hosts all of our other resources, the very first thing that pops up is a modal telling you about that new product. And if you click Learn More on Kickstarter, it brings you right to the Kickstarter page where we are launching that product. And I could talk more about Kickstarter at another time. But the point is, this is a brand that we've already built out. There are hundreds of people that have downloaded our resources. They've been downloaded thousands of times. There are tons and tons of people on the mailing list for this company. So this is already established. We put a ton of time into building this brand. And even with a library of things people can download, even with an existing audience, even having already put a ton of time and effort into this brand, now we're starting to ramp up putting some money into this brand and putting some promotion into this brand and putting some real work into it. And we are taking that one product approach so far that it's the very first thing you see on the website. It's taking priority over everything else. And even when you click out of that, we're doing a banner for that product at the very top of the web page, right? So all effort is going into selling that one product right now. And that's going to be so much more effective than if we tried to advertise 10 or 20 different things at once.
Big time.
And without spending too much more time on that, what that product actually is it's a journal for small business owners to help you actually map out what your business looks like and understand all the different aspects of your business. So we lay out a business model canvas, customer journey map, user personas, audience segmentation,
goals.
Yeah. Monthly tracking. Like there's more information on the Kickstarter page, and the purpose of this stream is not to promote, so I won't spend too much time on that. But as it ties into the example we're talking about, that's us doing exactly what we're saying. We wanted to promote something. We focused on one product, not the brand. I've got a question.
Good question, though.
Yeah.
If 760 is too small for monthly budget, what is minimum you'd start with online ads? Okay, so like starting, you can tease the water with really anything. Mm-hmm. It's like, you could tease the water with $50. It really depends on what you're actually going for. So like there's a lot of like testing campaigns that we'll end up creating where we put very small budgets to figure out, is this the creative we want to run? So like it's the same thing as like A/B testing an email subject line before actually releasing this out to everyone. So yeah, 760 can do something, but again, the money you should spend should be directly correlated to the outcome you want.
Yeah.
So we don't spend $760 arbitrarily just because it's a number. It's what is the goal? The goal for the company is to say we need 3 full-time workers. If 3 full-time workers are in the company, we need X number of orders to keep those people busy. Okay, now we can work backwards from that goal to figure, okay, in order to do that, here's how much we need to spend. And then it's the same thing. It's the same cascading bucket. This is the dollars that creates the awareness. This is how many clicks we get out of the ad. This is how many people hit the website. This is how many people, like, it's the standard conversion funnel at that point.
Yeah.
So if the ad is working effectively and we're getting good click-through rates, and then they're visiting the website, we're getting good conversion rates, that's where we're starting. So that 760 should have identified a problem. It should have said we spent $760. We got a whole whack ton of impressions, tons of them, thousands of impressions. We got how many clicks out of those impressions? You were going to have that data. We got more than 0 clicks. And then I'd be looking at website going, how far did they scroll? What did they see? Why did they add to cart, and did they not check? Like, it's going to identify a problem. That 760 went into, we now know 3 problems that need to be fixed. And then I'd spend another $760 and see when the next problem is.
You're kind of burying the lead a little. So broadly speaking, a good monthly budget for ads is like $2,000 a month is a good starting point for most businesses.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Where we would use a smaller budget like that is month 1.
Yes.
Right? So it's very common for us to start with a small budget month 1 in order to do the figuring out that Matt just kind of dove into. And then by month 2, once we got that figured out and we want to start really pushing volume, we jump up to at least a $2,000 budget. Yeah. The stream is lagging on our end as well.
That might be Twitch then. Maybe.
Well, you were having internet issues yesterday as well.
Yeah.
Are you on a wired connection?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Interesting.
Normally. Weird.
Are you sure you're on a wired connection?
Actually, the wired connection's on that computer, not this one.
So that's,
Yeah.
You're probably having Wi-Fi issues. Do you have a
weird.
bunch of people over helping with house stuff?
No.
Okay.
No. No. Weird.
That is weird.
Well, we'll see. Give it a second.
It wouldn't even matter if you're on a wired connection because I am the one we're streaming from. So
Yeah, I
would need the wired connection. I don't know. Can you hear us okay despite the lag?
I'm hoping.
Are the questions still getting answered?
Yeah. Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we're going to give that a minute because we're an hour in and there was no lag for an hour. That's weird. I have a next question, which is a really, really broad one, but it's got a like, so I'll answer it. Planning a campaign, how to begin. Great. How to begin. This one's fairly straightforward. How to begin, you need to know your customer. Typically, we would recommend building a customer journey map. So where do they go looking? So who's your customer? Are they a 27-year-old male that works in the trades? You figure out who your customer is, as much detail as you can. Where do they spend their time? They spend their time on Instagram, or they spend their time on YouTube. Figure out where they spend their time. Figure out a little bit more than that. So what YouTube channels are they watching? Where are they consuming content? Great. At that point, I'd say, how much does it actually cost to play in that market space? So okay, the average cost per click is $4, let's just say. And then I'd have to go back to your product. I'd say, great, we're trying to sell them sneakers or wheelbarrows or pick a thing. How many wheelbarrows can we sell? Can we advertise effectively on that channel? Do you have the assets for that? Do things need to get created? And then back to your goals, which is, okay, great, I got to sell 10,000 of these this year.
Yeah.
Work backwards from that. But yeah, it all starts with user. So like if we were to onboard into any company, the first questions we have is about who your customer is and then product. We need to know both very, very effectively. You can get, again, back to some of the planning tools. I'd go into Google Ads. I'd go and look up some keywords. If you've already got a store, you should have Google Search Console running. You should see where you rank on some of the keywords already. You might need to do like a pseudo focus group, go and attend some in-person events around the type of business that you're running. So
it's tough for us to answer that question without more
No,
context.
yeah.
And I'm really excited for the next question because it's
Then dive in. Like that question's really, really broad, but again, it's product and customer. You have to start with understanding customer, understanding product.
Yeah. So I love this question. This question is so good. No budget, where to start?
Oh,
Okay, bit of a weak start.
okay.
But then it gets so good. I created a new product called the Loofah Lock
Oh,
that solves a problem many people have and is the best backwasher for the shower. The question is, if this is a new startup and does not have money for a marketing budget yet, what is the lowest cost outlay marketing that has the biggest impact you would recommend? I've given them away for free, trying to get some traction, but it isn't translating to sales, just people asking for more free ones. Any ideas? Thanks.
look at you go.
I love this question.
This is a great question.
Because there is so much right here.
Yeah.
It's not working yet. There's some things that need to change, but there's a really good foundation, and that foundation is they have a product.
One product.
They've
Loofah
given
Lock.
one product. They have given it a name because it is a unique enough product that it could handle having its own name. That's
Yeah.
great. They've identified that it solves a problem,
Yep.
and they've said that it is the best at something.
We got a new scrub daddy here.
That probably puts them ahead of 90% of the people who comment on our AMAs
Yeah.
in terms of their basic positioning that will allow them to market effectively.
Yeah.
Right? They have answers to some of those key fundamental questions that are really important. And then, in terms of approach, they're doing smart things. I've given them away for free trying to get some traction, but it isn't translating to sales.
Okay.
I think that is the right approach
Yeah.
at this stage of business. I think they probably need to be choosier about who they give those samples out to.
Yeah.
Giving away free samples as a small business is an excellent way to build exposure for your brand if you are giving those samples to micro influencers who are going to drive traffic.
There's a whole whack ton you can do here. Like,
Yeah.
there's a whole wholesale thing so if I've got a product, there's a lot of stores there that you can form a wholesale relationship with to get it in store. There's definitely big, like in Canada, there's like the One of the Kind show. There's like, if this is new and novel, I would be going and taking this to places where people are actively looking for anything shower related.
Yeah.
There's like things that you can do with this. Content you should have content. If you've made this product, you should have like,
If they're giving them away, they have stock, right?
they have stock,
So like,
which is fantastic.
it's a real physical product. They're not drop shipping something.
Yep.
They have the product in hand. That means you can capture photography, you can capture videography. You're selling a shower product. Can you make a funny video that you can post on social media? It doesn't need to be professional quality, right?
No.
Like, you don't need to hire us to come in and like bring the fancy camera and shoot something amazing. But can you pull out your probably fairly modern smartphone and take some
And take
perfectly
something
reasonable
funny?
video content?
I bet you can.
Right?
I bet you can. This is great. So like, where to start? You're going to have to use some guerrilla tactics.
Yeah.
I'd be giving them away with conditions. Like, if I give this to you, can you do these instructions? Can you give me a review? Can you tell me, like, I would be asking for that, and then it's the right people. So like, friends and family are nice. They're not actually going to help.
No.
They don't have any control over that. So like, can I go to someone locally in this space? Can I do anything there to do that? There's probably a business I don't know what country you're in. There's probably a business innovation center close by-ish if you're in a major city. I would be going to talk with some boots on the ground people as well. So like in Canada, we have a bunch of small business centers. There's a bunch of regional innovation centers. Like, I'd be taking that product and getting boots on the ground with that as well. like Aaron said before, you're gonna need more than no budget. So like even getting a trade show ticket to walk the floor, let's just say that's $100. You're gonna need to have something there to get in the door. Some places, again, you don't need a booth, but like you're gonna need more people knowing about this.
And again, when you do that, it's to go and meet people. It's to make connections. It's not for active sales.
Yeah, it's not like you can bring your suitcase out and start peddling loofah locks around. Like, yeah, they will get kicked out pretty quick. But
some manufacturers actually do that.
It's very not recommended. We don't.
Very common in the board game space to see Chinese manufacturing companies bringing a suitcase around the show floor and showing off samples to people. Yeah.
The guerrilla marketing on social media, like you can get something going.
It's hard, but it's totally doable.
Yeah. You're gonna need good content anyways. A consumer product is going to need to have some kind of online social media channel. So like if you can start creating funny content, find some inspiration that is it, and I say it's probably funny because there's like, you know, you're not going to need to do a bunch of education. The product speaks for itself. The funny is probably the channel for you.
And then don't underestimate like old-fashioned in-person physical sales, right? Because like if I was selling like a novel shower product, I'd be going like, are there any mom and pop like home or health stores?
Oh yeah, there's tons.
In driving distance from me. Can I go and visit all of them and see if some of them want to stock my product? Maybe they want to stock my product on a consignment basis to start. Anything to get some volume out there, get some eyes on it, and start moving it.
Really common to have a wholesale channel like that set up.
And the best way to get that is to just go and talk to people. And it costs you gas money. Like if you have no budget, these are the kind of things that are going to be the most impact. Because if you can go and get that product into a local retail store, they've got a storefront, they've got foot traffic, they've got people coming by to see the products, and that's going to give you way more exposure way faster than just sticking it on your website.
Yeah. No drive-by traffic on a website, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Great question. And congratulations, you're doing well.
Yeah, love that question.
Yeah, which is great. Let's go back into the board here.
I think we're on guidance needed.
Needed for the right eyeballs. Let me see here. Let's pop this open. Guidance needed for the right eyeballs. So, Holo5, thanks for the question. We have an online business for selling premium high-end knitwears. Cool. We are looking for effectively allocate our marketing budget for online adverts. The problem is we allocate budget every month for the same, but it does not fall into the right people. How much funds to allocate each month, and how can we convert to sales? Okay, so you're selling high-end street knitwears. Cool. We actually work with a couple of brands that do this quite effectively. Allocate our marketing budget, online advertising. It doesn't fall to the right people. Okay, so like it doesn't fall to the right people is actually something that you can control. In pretty much every advertising platform online, you have targeting tools. Some are better than others, but you have targeting tools, and I would be looking at who is buying this product. So I would be looking back into your order history. I would be building a customer persona around, is someone buying this for a gift? Is someone buying this to wear themselves? Is someone buying this as a special, if it's like premium high end, is this a special thing that they're only going to wear twice a year? Is this going to be an everyday piece? I would really, really dive into who's buying the product. Great. At that point, I would be looking back at my past advertising campaigns and I'd be going, well, is my advertising hitting those people? Yes or no? Like I've got some proven sales. I don't know why it wouldn't if the targeting is set up correctly, because it should. Like, I mean, there might be 1 or 2% that falls out of that just because no platform's perfect, but like it should be like 90% plus on mark for your targeting.
We're also just taking their word for it that the targeting is the problem.
Yeah.
Right? Because we don't know what their budget is.
Yeah.
They could be directing traffic to their homepage.
Let's walk through that. So like, great, you should be advertising the budget. So how much funds to allocate each month? So like, great, the funds are going to attract a certain number of people. Great, those people will click. They're on your website. Shopify gives you great data in terms of the click-through percentages through your site. I would be then taking that back, like how many people are adding to cart, how many people are abandoning, how many are checking out, and I would just work the funnel backwards.
Yep.
So like if you already have sales, it's easy to do this, and it's easy to spot the problem. So common numbers, starting at the bottom of the funnel, 1 to 3% is like average conversion rate on your website. 100 people visit the site, between 1 and 3 people buy. Okay, if your numbers are higher than 3%, congratulations. If they're on the lower side, if they're like 1.2 or under, your website is probably not converting very well. It needs to convert closer to the 3%. Cool. Let's go up a level. The number of clicks through the ad. If your ad isn't converting like 7% clicks through the ad's got a problem. The ad is not targeting the right people. We're not getting the right clicks. You're not going to get 100% of the clicks. You're not going to get 0. We're probably looking between like 7 and 12% of people who see the ad are clicking the ad. If you're not getting those numbers, or if you're getting them on the high side, congratulations. If you're getting them on the low side, the ad's not doing well at explaining the premium high-end knitwears. And then there's the overall traffic in general, which is like how many people are actually in the market for high-end knitwears relative to our ad budget. So like if we're selling high-end knitwears in one state, how many people are looking for that? There's probably going to be some level of seasonality. There's not going to be as many people looking for like knitted stuff when it's 40 degrees outside. They're probably going to be looking for something different. So there's going to be some seasonality, but you should have those numbers nailed down, and you can spot your problem with like where your funnel is leaking. That's where we'd start, especially if you've got a store with data. That's the right. And then how much funds to allocate each month. Again, work it backwards. To sell a $200 sweater, I need to attract X number of people. Advertising costs X number of dollars per 1,000 views. Like just work that backwards. And then you're trying to increase the value of the product, the website, and decrease the cost of advertising with better ad. So that's that. I can't give you much more on like the right eyeballs. Again, think about something we preach. The only sense a human being has to buy a product online is the sense of sight. If I was buying it in store, I could pick it up. I could feel how heavy it is. I could taste it. I could smell it. I could touch it. I'm also going to see it. All of that goes away. So online, I only get my eyeballs. So if visually it isn't doing it for me, I got nothing else. And clothing is hard. Clothing, it can't look like it's cheap unless it really is cheap. You're going to have to convince people like, okay, what's the return policy? What if it doesn't fit? How do I wash it? How do I make, they're like, does it do X and Y? Does it is it easy to take on and put off? And the whole thing. I have to replicate the in-store shopping experience. Like shoes and clothes are like some of the hardest things to sell because it's like, well, why? Is it going to fit right? Is it going to itch my skin? Mm-hmm. Is this going to be too small? Like there's a whole bunch there. So you're going to have to lay that out. And if you're just relying on like manufacturers' images from wherever you're importing it, like those images were to sell you on importing the sweater. They're not for you to go and take those same images and sell to like the boots on the, like, no, I need real stuff. So it really does depend. And as soon as I say premium with a capital P, it better feel premium. It better.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but good question. Do we have another or something in chat?
No, we have nothing in chat, and we are out of questions with likes. So, if we're gonna go back to our list, we can kind of scroll
Dealer's
through.
choice.
Yeah, and I figure we'll be kind of transparent about which ones we're answering.
Yeah.
So if you want to share screen again as we go through these questions. So some of these I'm going to skip right past. So like marketing methods, it's not really a budget question.
What's the required monthly budget given?
Right, and then marketing budget for Pepe. Are there budget-friendly marketing strategies? What low cost or free tools would you recommend? That's still not really a budget question.
Controller design. This is going to be really interesting, but I don't know.
Yeah, I looked at that one. It's interesting, but it's not budget
TikTok.
related.
I did a survey.
That one.
What about this one? You want to bring this one up on your end. Structure for scale up criteria measure. Let's click on this. Let's see what it is. Let's see what it is. Okay, hello. Thank you in advance for your time and expert advice. Cool, yeah, we're glad to be here too. We've been running a store for a few years. Our TO is about $500K a year, and our marketing budget oscillates between $5,000 and $10,000 a month for online marketing only, Facebook, Google. I would like to scale up, obviously, effectively, but I'm allergic to answers just add budget. Yeah, us too. Typically, meta encouragement. Any suggestion to a structure, a framework, or a method to do this? Furthermore, which are the criteria, parameters, or measurements of success you would be watching to implement? Oh, this is a really good question. This is a really good question.
And this ties into everything we're looking for.
Yeah. So thank you for the question.
Before we delve into answering this question, I'm just going to remind everyone who's in chat, if there are questions, specific questions that you want to see us answer, go back to the AMA board and like those questions, because we will be refreshing that list. And if we see more questions that have likes, we'll prioritize those. So you just saw us skip through a few that weren't budget related. If those questions had gotten a lot of interest from the people on the board, we would have answered them.
Yeah.
So the topic of the series today was budgeting. So we're going to try and pick budget focused questions to answer. But if you go back and like questions, that will influence our decisions. So it's up to you guys. If there's specific ones you want answered, go ahead and drop those likes. In the meantime, let's delve into answering this question, because it's a good one and it's budget related.
There's like some really, really, really good ones here. So you haven't told us enough about the store to get specifics, so like what you sell and who you sell to. But I'm gonna jump in with this and then know your feedback. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you've got $500,000 a year in sales, that could be like one $500,000 piece of equipment. That could be 500,000 $1 orders. You'd be somewhere in the middle. Great. That means you've got a customer base. Cool. I'm going to get as much value out of that customer base as possible. So in terms of budget, we're spending 5 to 10. Cool. I'm looking for, can I get more reviews? Can I start email marketing to those thousands of customers and introduce new products to or reoccurring purchases? Can I go back to them for free when not having to pay Google? Like there's no $10,000 a month email marketing campaign. So if I've already got a customer base, can I start leveraging these things? Can I do exclusive deals for early? Can I do something that's more creative than just spending dollars online? Because if you leave that alone, it sounds like that's profitable for you. And it's not just adding more dollars. So beyond looking for effectiveness in strategies, things like that, I would be looking at potentially another sales channel. So you said Facebook and Google. Google, you probably, I don't know if you're doing anything on YouTube. So there could be new marketing channels where more customers exist. There could be additional marketing activities that you should put into your budget. So you can start working on the content side of things with influencers. You can start working on creating video to advertise new channels. You can start using things like email. You can start using things like reward programs. Like there's a whole whack ton of creative things that can happen at that point to help you scale. Big time. Rather than just adding another zero to the monthly ad spend with Google. No, there's SEO. Like there's a huge SEO play there too.
That said, if your ads are performing, if you're making a bunch of money,
if your ads
and you have a bunch of money, and putting more money into ads will generate more money in sales.
Yep.
It doesn't get much closer to printing money.
Yeah. If you are like Aaron said, if you are getting great results with your ads, it's the easiest thing to scale.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be afraid of saying, like you can't be. It's like what you're actually saying is, I'm allergic to answers as budget. That's the same thing as I'm allergic to answers just as get more interest.
Yeah.
If you're allergic to getting more awareness and more interest,
like if every $1,000 you spend on ads generates $10,000 on sales, spend as much money on ads as possible.
Yeah.
Like just add budget. The answer is actually just add budget until it stops helping, because there's going to be a sweet spot where you can't advertise anymore and get the same results. And the only way to find that sweet spot is to keep upping those budgets. Yeah. So there are absolutely other channels you can put a ton of money into. But most of the time, putting that money back into ads is still probably going to be faster than just putting that money into infrastructure.
If you at that level, like that $10,000 a month level, I would really recommend getting if you're not already using a professional, I would get some professional help on auditing the money.
Yeah, 100%.
Because that could be, gaining 20% on effectiveness on that can be huge as well, and that's not just adding budget. So getting some professional support at that level could be very, very impactful. Because like Aaron said, if you are advertising, like that is what every single big business does. When they get that engine turned on, it's how hard and how fast can I turn this thing over on itself. And yeah, it makes Google rich, but it also makes you rich.
Yeah.
So like, or in this case, Facebook. But so yeah, it might be more money in a different channel.
If I say give me $10 and I'll give you 20, you're gonna repeat that transaction as many times as I will let you. So like, don't be afraid to scale your ad budgets if your ads are optimized and they're working and you're making money on them. Don't be afraid to scale
ramp it up.
Yeah.
There's like, again, you should be. I would also ask how much of that traffic is coming through organic. How much of it is coming through social media, organic social media. So like, of that 5,000 to 10,000 a month, I would love to know how much is accredited to revenue. So you probably.
Oh yeah, is it working?
Is it working?
All of this is predicated on
is
it working? If it's not working, then make a bunch of changes.
Yeah.
But if it is working, then spend more money.
So there's probably something in your business that isn't as effective, and you've got hopefully time, and I can see you've got money to fix those things. So if we're relying on every piece of new traffic to be from Google or Facebook, we're doing a very poor job with SEO. Like, I need to have some organic.
Okay, but let's talk about that for a minute, because that you kind of like threw that in there, but that's a really, really massive point.
That is a big point, yeah.
So like, when we start to get to this scale, you have to start being realistic about what your goals and your time frames are. Are you thinking 5 to 10 years in advance?
Oh, that's great.
Or are you thinking about right now? Because if you're thinking about right now, then the answer is
awareness ads.
Absolutely put more money into ads and ignore everything else. If all you care about is sales this year, put the money into ads. If you're worried about 5 to 10 years from now, there are other areas where your budget can go that will not have an immediate impact and might take 6 years to do anything. But after that, will continue to pay off forever. Right? If you put a bunch of money into SEO right now, what that's going to do is it's going to help build your search ranking over time. It's going to build the authority of your domain, which means that it will be easier for people to find you on Google search, but it might take 6 years for that to happen. You're not going to get fast results out of SEO. You're going to get fast results out of ads. You might get fast results out of building a bunch of great video and media resources.
Yeah.
And you should be doing that anyway. But you're going to get faster results out of ads. You might get a ton of incremental benefit to overhauling your website to increase your conversion rate. But there's only so much the conversion rate can increase by, and that's going to cost tens of thousands of dollars. So like, in terms of what you should do to scale effectively, your ads, if you're spending $5,000 to $10,000 a month for Facebook and Google ads, that's a really healthy advertising budget. Yeah. Your business is doing the thing that it needs to do. Well, what you should do next, like I say, it really depends. Are you talking short-term goals or long-term goals? If your short-term goal is more sales, ramp up the ads. If your long-term goal is more stability and more traffic sources, we can start looking at things like SEO. But it's really important to temper your expectations by remembering that they are not the same animal as ads. Yeah. And I think this kind of answers the latest question we've got in the chat as well. Would you recommend focusing on organic traffic, SEO, or ads as a first step for startups?
Ads.
With an asterisk.
With an asterisk, yeah.
So ads for sure, because it's going to do more faster. In terms of selling SEO services to people as an agency, one of the things we tell people is if you're not spending a substantial amount on ads, you're not ready to start spending on SEO. Because the SEO will increase the relevancy of your pages and make your ads more effective. And it's a long-term strategy. So developing your SEO makes a ton of sense once you've got advertising that's up and running and doing well. But early on, it makes more sense to put the money into the ads to start out. The asterisk is there are certain fundamental things that are better to start on sooner rather than later. So perfect example. Build your Google business profile day one.
Yeah.
If you set that up yourself, it costs you $0, and that's going to have great local SEO benefits. If you have any technical knowledge at all, do a little bit of research and try to make sure you're not doing anything wrong on your website from an SEO perspective. Make sure you're giving your images alt tags. Make sure you're using headers appropriately. These are little things that if you're technically minded, it's better to set them up correctly the first time when you're building out your content, rather than just firing from the hip and doing everything like it's the Wild West, and then having to go back and fix it later on. So what should you be focused on? You should be focused on ads to start, and then the asterisk is, but anywhere you can get the SEO right without going and spending an SEO expert to start writing blog posts for you and putting a ton of effort into it, you might as well capture the low-hanging fruit. If you're capable of doing it yourself. I probably wouldn't day one be paying an SEO expert to go through the site and refine everything and do an audit. It does make sense to get your Google Ads or your Google Analytics set up early on. It makes sense to get your Google Business Profile set up early on.
Tag Manager.
Yeah, you want to start tracking the data because it's going to help you with all kinds of things later on. Yeah. But definitely ads to start rather than SEO.
There's I'm blanking on the name who said this, but it's a quote. It's when you find something that works, do that 10 times more than starting something new.
Yeah.
If you find something that works, just hammer what's working over and over and over again. It works. Don't be chasing the new thing because there's always going to be something new, and new comes with risk, and then that comes with money and effort. It's do the thing that works. So something in your business is working to generate that $500K in revenue. What is doing that thing? Do that more. 10 times more before starting something different. But there are creative things that you can do in marketing that don't cost any money. So start harvesting emails, start building social media following, start building that stuff, because that's just going to pay off in the long run as well. So good question. Yeah, and you might need some professional help at that level to make sure that money is being spent effectively. Anything in chat, or we can go to the next one. Yeah, let's go to the next one. Cool. We're down here.
While we're looking at the next one, thank you very much to Zums1234 for being so active in the chat today.
Yeah.
It's been great having someone to bounce this much off of. And bear with us while we figure out the next question and answer.
This is interesting. We're a premium journal company.
I saw that one. You could talk about that a little bit because we're advertising a journal.
Yeah, let's pop this over.
That ties in for us, even if it doesn't speak directly to the topic.
Yeah, give me a second.
You clicked the AMA questions link.
I clicked the wrong link. Give me a second here. I'm gonna pop that question open. Premium journal company. See if this is. Hello, we're premium journal company. Spend $2K a month on Facebook ads, but barely hit 1% ROI. How can we maximize our ads, but at least reach 1-to-1 ROI? Okay, this is a very common budgeting problem. So you're selling a product, you're spending $2,000 monthly, barely hit 1% ROI. Okay, so again, back to the sales funnel, $2,000 a month attracted how many visitors? So a number of impressions, number of clicks, number of website visitors, number of add to carts, number of completion. So we should know those numbers at every single time we're going to find out what's wrong. So if we're getting great click-through on the ad, it means the ad is presenting our product to some level. But if we're landing at the wrong spot, if the product pages aren't built out, if there's a mismatch in communication between what the ad was and what the website's displaying. So there's a lot of people that have really, really bad stores, but really, really great advertising. They click the beautiful ad and then they land on this store and there's what the heck is this? And then they leave. So there's going to be a problem or a series of problems in that approach. And it's got to go hand in glove. If the advertising is only effective if the dollars make it back into the business bank account. It's not effective if I've got a great click-through rate on an ad. That's not the point of that. The point is to actually drive sales. So at some point in this funnel, there's something going wrong. So that premium journal company, you're advertising on Facebook. Hopefully, depending on the type of journal, you're targeting business owners, moms, whoever the journal's designed for, carpenters, who knows. That needs to hit the right audience. The website needs to be geared for that audience. There are things that you could do in your ads to create, to preserve your budget. So things like when I say premium journal, I'm going to put like a price on the ad so I can disqualify tire kickers. It's like, great, our premium journals start at $49.99, designed for the professional in mind. Something like that. Well, if I'm not professional and I'm not really interested in spending $49.99, I'm probably not going to click the ad. Great. You didn't cost me any money. It displayed. I'm not paying for the click. The whole point was to actually get you the thing. So like, I need to actually get those keywords in. You should probably also look at like negative keyword targeting. So like, are you getting, depending on the targeting, are you getting people that are looking for like journals for children, something that's cheap, affordable? All those keywords should be negative, so we're not actually doing that. And then great follow-up in this, Promer. Yeah, explore Google ads for high-intent buyers and TikTok ads for, like, it depends. TikTok ads are different because it's a younger audience. Google ads are definitely for high-intent buyers because they're typing in. They're giving you a prompt. They're not waiting for something to hit you. So how can we maximize our ads to at least reach one? I would be looking at website conversion. I'd be finding the problem in your marketing funnel and fixing it one stage at a time. That's exactly it. So the money, most marketing budget is there to just discover a problem. Mm-hmm. That first little bit, I'm going to spend $2,000 and I'm going to find my problem. And then I'm going to fix my problem. I'm going to spend another $2,000. I'm going to fix the next thing, and the next thing is going to get better and better and better and better and better and better. That's it. That's what that money is designed to do right now, because it's not working for you, and it needs to get discovered and solved. Do you have one?
I have a few queued up.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
I'll kick us off with one that dives into the latest shiny object.
Oh, let me guess. AI or crypto?
AI.
AI. Oh. It is working.
I have pressed the screen share button. We'll wait for it to Twitch to catch up.
Yeah, we will.
Because we appear to be frozen again, or just a little bit behind.
Maybe. Hopefully you can still hear us again. Cool. There it is.
There we go. So, I don't even know what this is referring to. Would an AI ad be effective to run on Meta or Google? Excuse me. If you have a low budget, $20 per day. What's the best use of a low budget that gets results? So they did tie this into a budget question. If you have a $20 a day advertising budget, I don't imagine any kind of Meta or Google ad could possibly be effective.
Yeah, that's really low to attract any amount. Again, play that out. How much? So $20 a day, let's just say $600 a month. How much traffic can that create at the top end for you to get customers at the bottom end?
Yeah. What an AI ad is that a thing Google and Meta have started offering, or is that just someone using AI to write the copy for their ads?
So this is
because I'm not in the advertising department, so I'm not totally sure on that one.
The terms that they're using in this question are a little vague. Google has like AI, whatever you want to call it, that will help you create text ads. It's going to like use whatever, and it's going to scrape some data off the landing page. It's going to help you come up with some text, give you some recommendations on what keywords to use. I think that's fine. It's going to like help you write a better prompt. The prompts should be the headlines and the subheadings. It's a fine starting point. It's an absolutely fine starting point to do, because those are going to have to change over time anyways. So to start, great. Mm-hmm. Use its recommendations, get the ad live, and start collecting data around it, because what you're going to see is you're going to have a best performing headline and a worst performing headline, just by the nature of it. part of your job as advertising or managing the ads account is you're going to need to look at, wow, that ad isn't performing as well as this one. I need to change it. I need to change it. I need to change it. And I'm going to start playing with it. And I'm going to now resort that list, and there's going to be a new top performing. So the AI in the Google's in the text-based ads is perfectly fine for a starting point. You do need some data to make better decisions on changing headlines, subheadings, the keywords you're targeting it. So $20 a day is a fine testing budget. It is. You're going to spend $600. You're going to learn some stuff. Cool. Yeah. I wouldn't be expecting that $20 a day to move the needle in your business. You're going to learn. You're going to learn what works and what doesn't work, and at which point you're going to ramp it up. So like, fine for a testing budget. That's one campaign. That's one ad group. That's one set of keywords. $20 on that. Not company wide. We're not splitting that 15 different ways. So if you sell the wheelbarrow, $20 a day on the wheelbarrow ad, you're going to learn some stuff, and then you're going to try and ramp that up.
Yeah.
That's perfectly fine. So that's my version of what they would consider an AI ad. If you're talking about like an AI creating a video and a whole bunch, I would say absolutely not.
Yeah,
I wouldn't touch any of that. But yeah, there's like some AI stuff in the back end of Google and Meta that'll help you make some text. That's
fine.
Fine, absolutely start. Like you need a base to start. If you don't have any data, run with it.
Yeah.
And then every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks, you should be back into your Google Ads account or your Facebook or your Meta account. And every 2 weeks, I'm looking at data and making changes, letting it sit and run for 2 weeks with that new set of data, going back to it over and over and over again. So,
yep.
So I'd say perfectly fine for testing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
And then in terms of like what's going to be the best value for money on like a small marketing budget, it comes back to like we've said this over and over again. You have to find creative ways to invest your time. If you don't have a ton of money, it comes down to time. Zoms1234 in the chat runs a honey company.
Cool. From Croatia.
Yeah.
Cool.
We've worked with a handful of different honey companies.
Yeah.
Over the years, and I'm going to use this as an example. Most of the honey companies that we've experienced generate significant portions of their revenue, not through direct sales.
Yes.
Right? So most of them are generating a significant portion of their revenue through wholesale. And those wholesale relationships were built on going out and forming relationships, either at trade shows or phone calls, markets, you name it. But getting connected with other local sellers and distributors, and getting the product out there so that it's not just relying on their own selling efforts. And
other manufacturers, like using their honey in beer.
Yep.
Like there's lots there. So like.
And then, one honey producer we talked to made most of his money managing bees.
Oh, the beekeeping of the yeah.
Right? Like managing bees on other people's farms that wanted bees for pollination, but didn't want to manage bees themselves.
Yeah, huge business.
And he was making he was making way more money just taking care of his bees than he was selling his honey. And what's so interesting about those examples is that they're all based on just going out and doing relationship building, which can be super, super affordable if you're strategic with what events you go to and how to use your time. But the point is, going out and building those relationships in all of those cases were way more impactful than spending, some limited budget on advertising every month would have been. And this kind of ties into the latest question in chat as well, which is we use Shopify markets as we target a few countries, but as we are on a very limited budget, should we focus first on our local market, despite the fact that we get better margins internationally and customers ready to buy more? That's a really, really complicated question to answer. It's really interesting.
It's the last set. If they're ready to buy more and better margins, is it easier to sell to them? Because if I'm going to take the customer who's easiest to sell to.
Yeah.
But
because
probably not.
Usually we say focus on your local market because you have a lot of advantages in your local market that make it easier to win there. The local angle is important to people. The relationship building is a lot more efficient. It tends to be more affordable. But if you're like doing gangbusters selling overseas and like that's where most of your
And it's
audience
easy,
is,
and its margins are better, and like ready to buy more.
yeah,
Ready to buy more. It's like fulfill that need yesterday. So like
Yeah.
I'd be getting on the phone with those customers, if this is wholesale or whatever, and I'd be like, yeah,
Yeah.
doors open. How much do you want?
yeah,
They
like
want to buy more, and it's easy.
If
International calling should be like, get a good phone plan, call them up.
yeah, if the international market's been good to you, like you might want to be attending international trade shows. There might be some
Yeah.
travel in the future. If yeah, like we would always focus local unless you've got really good reasons to not focus local. And it sounds like you might. If the margins are better and the customers are better,
Yeah.
then by all means focus on the markets that are working.
What a not good answer is the international markets are bigger.
Yeah,
Bigger doesn't mean better.
I agree.
Better means better. So like if it's better margins and it's bigger, it doesn't mean that they're gonna buy, because why? Like we're in Canada. There's a massive push right now to support Canadian. It's huge. It's like Canada wide. We're gonna support Canadian. They're pulling stuff off shelf. It's crazy. So the challenge there is like, am I going to go support the local beekeeper, or am I going to buy the import honey from somewhere else? Well, the grocery stores in Canada have a big maple leaf beside every single local producer that makes their product in Canada, and the local producers don't have to do anything to promote themselves other than their local advantage. So yes, it is, but it comes with shipping challenges, storage, etc. Yeah, so there is going to be some challenge there. If you can solve those, if they can confirm order. I'm not sure if you're selling like ones or caseloads or master cases, but like the goal there is like, yeah, if you want to put $10,000 order in, I will solve the shipping and storing challenge, because money talks.
Yeah, it kind of depends. If you want to get into like the nitty gritty, feel free to book a strategy call with us as well. Anyone who attends one of these events is more than welcome to
We'll
book
give
an
you the
actual
full
chat with us.
CTA at the end. We've got a few more minutes here.
Yeah, I'll queue up another question so that you can get talking about that, and then I'll search for the booking link while you're responding.
Lovely.
A lot of this is going to be fairly repetitive because a lot of people have very similar questions.
Yeah.
So marketing budget and strategy. 1, how do you prioritize marketing channels when working with a limited budget? Example, paid ads, social media, influencers, email marketing, etc. 2, what's the most cost-effective way to increase brand awareness and generate consistent sales for an online hair extension business?
Okay.
3, what's a reasonable budget for running Facebook and Instagram ads for an e-commerce business in the beauty/hair industry? And 4, how can I run paid ads effectively without overspending, and what metrics should I focus on to measure ROI?
Oh, I'm gonna bring that up on my end.
Yeah, and the question was called marketing budgeting and strategy.
Marketing, budget, and strategy.
There you go.
Okay, cool. Marketing budget. So, how do you prioritize marketing channels when working with limited budget? Great. Pick one. You pick one. With limited budget becomes limited bandwidth. And I'm really looking at what channel I have the most customers in that are actively searching for my products. So like low hanging fruit. If I've got limited budget, low hanging fruit. Where is the low hanging fruit? I always see the email marketing in there. If you have 10,000 subscribers through email marketing, that is the low hanging fruit. If you have no email subscribers, that is not low hanging fruit. So where is the audience? If you've never worked with an influencer before, that's going to take a bunch of time, because that's working with like a whole bunch of independent contractors. So that there's a huge time there. Social media, you should probably be doing some organic anyways. You might not need to delve into paid. But yeah, limited budget means you need to drop the scope dramatically. So where are your customers? Where are they searching for you? Where's the low-hanging fruit, depending on your budget? Cost-effective way to increase brand awareness and generate consistent sales for an online hair extension business. Ooh, okay. Cost-effective way to increase brand awareness. I need to get my brand into stores. The easiest way to get brand awareness is having my brand in a brick and mortar.
Mm-hmm.
And like Aaron said, that is a bunch of phone calls and driving around and getting hair extensions into a salon. If you're living in a big city, there are probably 1,000 salons in that city. Write a list, go out and talk to all of them. Follow them all on social media, talk to all of the owners, schedule, that is it. That would be the most cost effective, because that costs are like next to none. and brand awareness would be really, really high. The margin is going to be lower because you're going to sell at wholesale, but that's fine. I need consistent sales, not maximize profits. So in-person selling. Reasonable budget for running Facebook and Instagram ads for e-commerce business. Again, it's 13%. If your hair extensions are $500, you're going to be spending $50 to $60 to sell one. Like that's, and again, that's not a cheap industry to compete in. Beauty industry, there are some big players. There's not going to be any free wins there. You're going to need so anything in hair and beauty, you are going to need very good image assets. Very good, like if you're selling a look, the look needs to be, are we selling cheap hair extensions? Okay, fine. Are we selling good hair extensions? You're going to need to fit in. So very, very good photography and lots of it. So reasonable budget is always percentage. Again, to sell something that's $500, you're going to need to put in about 13% to get the $500 out of it. How can I run paid ads effectively without overspending? What's the metric I should focus on and measure ROI? Okay, that's the same thing we want. Paid ad, work backwards again. We're going to display to 1,000 people. We're going to get hopefully about 7% of those people clicking through. So great, you've got 70 people through the click. They're going to visit your website now. I need 3% of those on the high end to convert. Those are if those numbers are off, I would be looking at, is the ad not doing well? Is the landing page not doing well? Is there added like surprises at checkout for like fees and shipping and things like that? Is the price way out of whack for the industry? There's a whole bunch of reasons why someone will land. How I run paid ads effectively without overspending all comes down to data. Mm-hmm. It's the data that you've collected running a $20 testing campaign to get some data in to make better decisions is a great use of that money. Run that, figure out your problem, fix the problem, run it again, figure out the problem, fix it. So the metrics that you should be focusing on to measure ROI, there's an easy one for small business. It's total advertising divided by total revenue, and I can get like per dollar of advertising spent, and I just assume that every dollar of revenue is associated to advertising, so that's like a ratio. The more data you have in your system, the better the measurement techniques you can have. So Google Analytics, Search Console, Tag Manager, maybe a Looker Studio dashboard, and then being very familiar with like the reporting that you're getting out of Shopify. And Shopify is good reporting, so like you should be in that all the time. But again, it's only as good as the data that you're putting into it. So if you're waiting for people to come to your site in order for you as a business owner to make a decision, you are not making decisions fast enough. I'm going to go pay $500. I'm going to make that decision this week. Mm-hmm. So that my business, like if I have to wait for 500 visitors, I'm going to be waiting and waiting and waiting. And what am I doing with my time? I'm going to twiddle my thumbs in order to make the decision. Not smart business decision. If that's where I'm at, I need to make a decision on what's best. How do I get to making that decision? I need 500 customers on the site to tell me what's wrong with it.
Yeah.
So good question. Good question. The beauty and hair industry, I'd be looking at competition. There's a budget planning tool within Google Keywords that'll tell you like average cost per clicks on like top of page and bottom of page bidding in terms of what that industry looks like. So you can plan that a little bit effectively. Those costs per click, especially in beauty, are going to be high. You're not going to get any like 50-cent clicks in that space. So like the higher the ticket, the item, typically the more it's going to cost to advertise. There's not 50 cents of margin in a dollar pair of socks, but when you're selling a beauty product and the margin is 85% and so you're going to have to figure that out. But that would be the first thing we talk about as well. It's like, great, is there margin for this? So typically when we present an advertising strategy, we break out, here's what the average cost of click is going for. Here's a sample of like how much demand there is in the market for the amount of traffic that is associated with the brand and the type of products. And then if we were to put $1,000 on this, here's how many impressions, here's how many clicks, here's how many website views. And then again, we can't promise the conversion because it's your site. Mm-hmm. If it's designed well, it's like I can promise you demand, because if I can't promise you demand, we won't take your money in the first place. If there's no one looking for it, I'm not going to take your money because that would There's no success option there. But at least you'll spot going, hey, they land on this product page and they don't click the buy button. The problem's not the ad. The problem's probably the product page. The product page is not doing a good enough job selling so there's no video, there's no product reviews, there's not good imagery, there's not, like, the product page is just not built out. So but good question. That's the,
Yeah.
we would look at.
If we want to wrap up with one last question.
Sure.
This comes from Sue1 in the forum. My Shopify store just opened. How much should I spend on advertising the first year?
That is super general.
Yeah.
Should I say 13% again? But really, it's different. So
$1 million.
Yeah, 100. Yeah, Dr. You. Okay, Aaron talked about this very early on in this.
Yeah.
There's a lot of building blocks that have to be built in order for you to go forward. So, like, there's probably a bunch of marketing, probably a bunch of materials that need to be created that advertising relies on. Video, imagery, on model, off model, white. Like, there's going to be a whole bunch of collateral that's going to have to get created that you're going to use for a long time, but you're going to incur the cost like month 2. That's still part of marketing.
Yeah.
You're not guaranteed a 1-year ROI on your marketing activities, because that's just not how it works.
Mm-hmm.
So I would figure out all the things that are required to sell first, and I would start with those. And those are probably not even going to be negotiable. I need good photography. I need a product video. I need, maybe a review app on my store to start getting reviews today rather than in 6 weeks. I'm going to need some basic infrastructure started that won't pay for itself until you've got traffic later on. And at that point, so, like, the whole site doesn't need to look perfectly pretty. I need, like, a few key areas to be really, really well built out. The landing page.
Yeah.
Your social media needs to smell right. Like, it does. Like, it can't look like you're a nobody. Like, there's going to need to be some stuff there. So how much you spend really depends on the industry you're in, the type of products you've got, what basic assets you've got around them. And again, if you don't have your product pages built out, don't waste your money with Google. Google will take your credit card bill through the roof if the website, the thing you own, isn't good.
I want to use this as a jumping off point to touch on the most common and devastating budgeting mistake we see in marketing. And that is, most businesses treat marketing as a variable expense rather than a fixed expense. And that's a huge problem. If you're not familiar with the difference, a variable expense is something you can't control that goes up and down all the time. That could be like material costs if you're in certain industries. That could be your labor potentially if the work you do is like heavily driven by demand. Your variable costs are things that you kind of have to react to. They fluctuate, so you can't predict them. Whereas your fixed costs are set in stone. They're the same all the time.
I know how much my rent is.
Yeah. Your
rent
rent
is not changing.
Right. That's locked in. You know what that's going to be every month for the next 5 years or 3 years or however long your lease is. And that fixed cost is a major part of your annual budget. It never surprises you. With marketing, your marketing needs to be treated as a fixed expense, not a variable expense. There should be no marketing surprises, except for surprises in terms of how the results play out.
Yeah, there's never a marketing emergency.
Yeah, like the marketing doesn't suddenly break down and need to get replaced. The marketing, like there are no marketing scares unless someone like really does something controversial.
It's funny to think about. My marketing's broken.
Right?
How did it break? It just broke.
Your marketing should be a well-oiled machine. And in order to make your marketing more effective, you need to do everything you can to make it as predictable as possible. And one of the most effective ways to make it predictable is to define a budget and stick to that budget. What that budget needs to be depends on how aggressive your goals are, and it depends on your resources. If you've got really deep pockets, you can set that marketing budget higher. And if you don't have a lot of money, you can set that marketing budget lower, and you'll need to find other ways to make up for the gaps. But starting with a fixed marketing budget allows you to make much more effective decisions in terms of rolling out your overall marketing strategy. Is building a new website or is overhauling your website part of your marketing strategy? Well, that might cost you $20,000. If that's going to eat up your marketing budget for the entire year, then that overhaul may have to wait. Because if you treat your marketing as a fixed expense and you go, I have a $20,000 marketing budget for this year, you probably want to spend the majority of that budget on active promotion. You need to carve that up and be realistic about what you can accomplish within that budget, and then carve out projects and tasks and initiatives based on the resources you have available. If you have a limited amount of money for marketing and you need a new website or a website update and you need a bunch of ads and you need a bunch of media, that might mean that you go and you pay for an online course so that you can learn to work on your website yourself. And you invest time to make up for the budget you're saving by not paying a professional to do that job for you. That might mean that you go and do the same thing and you spend a ton of time practicing with your phone and taking really good photographs of all your products so that you're not paying $5,000 for a photo shoot to bring someone in to take high-end pictures of your products. If you start by treating your marketing budget as a fixed expense and you carve out the amount of money you need to spend on marketing every year, you can then start making strategic decisions about what needs to fit into that marketing budget and what things are the highest priority. And everything else becomes much more manageable if you approach it from that perspective. This is how we approach businesses generally. We try to take a process-driven approach to everything we do and everything we consult on. And if I can end out this stream by promoting one of our initiatives, that is also why we are building the Pocket Business Journal. And I just put a link to the upcoming Kickstarter in chat. The Kickstarter is going to launch April 1st. It's going to be available for backers in North America, largely due to the complexity of shipping internationally. This is a journal we have developed full of templates to help small business owners look at all of the different aspects of their business and record all of the factors that go into building that business and developing a marketing strategy and understanding your audience, using structured templates so that you can approach things methodically rather than trying to figure it out entirely as you go along. If that's not your cup of tea, we have a ton of other free resources you can download through our website, sprintpoint.ca.
It's a Shopify store too.
It is a Shopify store too. Yeah, we use Shopify to build this. There are tons and tons of free resources available that you can download and start using to structure your business more effectively. Our top resources are things like our user personas and our customer journey maps. These are all excellent tools, but these are all print and play. If you prefer a more premium feel, something you can take with you on the go, that's why we developed the Pocket Business Journal, which again will be coming to Kickstarter April 1st, and then we'll be using Shopify again as the pledge manager, and we'll be selling it through our Shopify store after the campaign ends.